right now. Pittsburgh's best sports show is about to begin. Call us or tweet us. We've got things to talk about on the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call, powered by FanDuel Sportsbook.
Pirates on the road in Milwaukee in the midst of a losing streak. Steelers finish OTAs before they start minicamp. And was there a snub in the NHL awards voting? We'll talk about all of it here on the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call, powered by FanDuel Sportsbook. Hello again, everybody. I'm Josh Taylor, joined live in the 93.7 The Fan newsroom. Usually you hear from Paul Zeiss, but I'm pleased to announce this evening we are joined by one of the esteemed elderly statesmen in this market. It's Jeff Hathhorn. He joins me on the show tonight. Jeff, good to talk to you again. It's been a while.
Yeah, it has been. I am definitely not Paul Zeiss. That is one thing. I have none of his basketball skills at all.
Few of us have his skills and his height, so I can definitely agree with that one. Let's jump right into this, Jeff. OTAs comes to an end. Minicamp is upon us next before we eventually get to training camp next month. But as we go through OTAs here, we talked about this a little bit earlier in the day with Andrew Filipponi. We talked about just the benefit from having some of the extra practices here, because we know all the turnover that's been as far as some of the turnover in the coaching staff, the turnover on the roster. There are some significant new faces. Among them, Najee Harris at running back, as you can see. Offensive coordinator Matt Canada. He's now calling the calls as the offensive coordinator as opposed to being the quarterback's coach. Jeff, when you look at everything we saw, some of the sites we saw in OTAs, and the expectations going into the season, how do you feel about what we've seen so far? I know it's really, really early to talk about what to expect because it's only, mid-June? But as far as the expectations for the team going into this season and the changes being made, what have you seen so far that gives you at least some level of optimism from what we've seen that's different?
Well, the expectations are always high, as we all know. It's the Steelers. I mean, there is nothing but Super Bowl. That is the goal, and that is not some phony goal or some trumped-up goal. That's what they believe they can do, and having Ben Roethlisberger back this season should help that. New offensive coordinator, new plan. We'll kind of see how that plays out. But I'll say this. I think what's impressed me most about OTAs, they're voluntary. There's a lot of talk about guys not showing up, and there were guys that did not show up during this time. But Ben Roethlisberger and Cam Hayward were there. They were there to be seen, but also to be leaders and to show these younger players what the Steeler way is, what they expect, and that they can also interact with them, get to know them a little bit, show them that they're human, and go through some of the same drills that these guys are going through. I think it's important for the young guys to see their leaders out there, and I thought Ben and Cam Hayward, along with a guy like Tyson Alualu, who was there for every practice, set a really good example for these guys.
Now, as far as those are the mainstays that you mentioned there, as far as maybe some of the surprises that we saw, I know Devin Bush sticks out, a guy that's been participating a lot. We showed some video of him. What are some other things that have caught your attention as maybe things you didn't expect to see?
Yeah, Devin Bush out there going through everything but the 7-on-7 drills, and competition period is what they call it. I think that was a bright side. Zach Banner being back on the field, not dressed, but going through some of the drills, and it looks like he's on schedule to be able to return for the start of the season. And I love some of the drills they're doing. They're mixing some things up. They're trying to keep it fresh for these guys, but demanding some accountability as well. I think it's voluntary. It's in shorts and T-shirts, and I get all of that. But I think it's a good foundation lay for this team, especially offensively, as Matt Canada, he worked in some of that stuff last year, but they kind of pushed it to the side halfway through the season. Now he's implementing even more stuff for that offense, and it's good for these guys to get some reps before, minicamp starts, and everybody will be there starting on Tuesday, and those 3 days should be interesting. Looks like the weather's going to be awesome, and hopefully they can get some good work in.
Well, we got to take a break here. When we come back, we're going to talk a little bit more football. I want to talk to Jeff about the college football playoff. Also want to talk about a question. Was there a snub in the nominations for the Jack Adams Award? We'll talk about it when we come back. Plus, we're taking your phone calls, 412-575-2600 on the Borders and Borders hotline. Stick around.